of their success in 1986. In 1985-1986 season, the Celtics fielded one of the best teams in NBA history. They won 67 games, going 40-1 at their home games. Bird won his third straight MVP award, and Bill Walton won the Sixth Man of the Year award. They won the franchise 16th championship and the last one in the 20th century, defeating the Houston Rockets in the finals 4-2. Thanks to the 1984 trade of Gerald Henderson, the subsequent fall of the Seattle Supersonics at the end of the season, the Celtics not only had the best team in the NBA, but also they had the second pick in the 1986 NBA draft. With this pick, they selected Len Bias with the pick and had high hopes for the star from University of Maryland. Even the fans, they believed he had superstar potential and that he would be the perfect passing the torch to Larry Bird once he retired. The hope was his presence. He would ensure the franchise that, like I said, he'd be a powerhouse after Bird, McHale, and Parrish retired. Unfortunately, really tragic news happened. He died 48 hours after he was drafted after using cocaine at a party and overdosing. It'd be the first in a long streak of bad luck for the Celtics, one that will continue until the next manifestation of the Big Three in Boston. Despite the loss of Bias, the Celtics remained competitive in the 1986-1987 season, going 59-23 and again winning the Eastern Conference Championship. However, injuries took their toll and the Celtics ceded the NBA championship to the Lakers in 6 games. It would be 21 years before they had reached the NBA Finals again. The Celtics' reign as the Eastern Conference champion ended in 1988 after the team lost to the Detroit Pistons in 6 games. After that season, Casey Jones retired as he was head coach and was replaced by Jimmy Rogers, who was the assistant coach at the time. He faced immediate trouble the next season when only 6 games in the season, Larry Bird decided to have surgery to remove bone spurs in his feet. It sidelined him until well after the All-Star break, although he hoped to return that year. However, despite his best attempts to return, he was unable to make it back as the Celtics stumbled to a 42-40 record in a first-round playoff defeat to the Detroit Pistons. Bird returned in next season, the 1989-1990 season, and led the Celtics to a 52-30 record in the playoffs after winning the first 2 games of a best-of-5 series against the New York Knicks. The Celtics collapsed, losing 3 straight, including the decisive 5th game at the Boston Garden. In the wake of the embarrassing defeat, Rogers was fired and was replaced by assistant coach and former Celtic player Chris Ford. Under Ford's leadership, the Celtics improved to 56-26 in 1990-91 season, recapturing the Atlantic Division title, even though Bird missed 22 games with several injuries. They fell to the Detroit Pistons in the second round. In 1992, a late-season rally allowed the Celtics to catch the New York Knicks and repeat as Atlantic Division champions. They finished 51-31 and matched up with the Indiana Pacers in the first round, which ended up being a sweep for the Celtics. In the next round, they lost a grueling 7-game series to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Due to back problems, Larry Bird played in only 45 games that regular season and only played 4 games in the playoffs. During games, he was frequently lying on the floor when he went out of the lineup instead of sitting on the bench. After 13 seasons with the Celtics and winning a gold medal in the Barcelona Olympics with the Dream Team, Bird retired in 1992 due to back injuries. Among his lasting contributions to the game was the Bird exception, which allowed teams to exceed the salary cap to re-sign their own free agents at an amount up to the maximum salary. At the time of Bird's retirement, Chris Ford was the coach of the Celtics. Reggie Lewis, out of Boston's Northeastern University, was seen as the successor to Larry Bird as franchise player for the Celtics. Lewis, a small forward, he fainted during a playoff matchup against the Charlotte Hornets, which they lost in of 4 games. It was revealed that Lewis had heart problems, yet he was able to get doctors to clear him for a comeback. Unfortunately, he died of a heart attack while shooting baskets at Brandeis University during the offseason. The Celtics honored his memory during the following season by retiring his number 35. The original Big Three came to an end in 1994 after Robert Parrish signed with the Hornets. The year before, Kevin McHale retired after the Celtics' playoff loss to the Hornets. They finished that year out of the playoffs with a 32-50 record. In 1994, the Celtics hired former player M.L. Carr to be the team's new VIP of basketball operations, along with GM Jan Volk. In his first draft in charge of the Celtics, he drafted University of North Carolina Eric Montross with his first-round pick. Montross became the new heir apparent in the paint, but failed to develop and was eventually traded. The 1994-1995 season was the final season for the Celtics playing in the Boston Garden. They signed the aging Dominic Wilkins, who was out of his prime, but he led the team in scoring with 18 points a game. Second-year player Dino Raja, a power forward from Croatia, added an interior presence to a team that had been lacking since 1993-1994. The Celtics made the playoffs, losing to the heavily favored Orlando Magic in 4 games. In 1995, the Celtics moved from the Boston Garden to the Fleet Center, later TD Bank North, and now the TD Garden. Carr fired Chris Ford and took the coaching reins himself. After drafting Providence College star Eric Williams, the Celtics struggled to a 33-49 record. Things got even worse in 1996 and 1997 as the Celtics lost a franchise record 67 games, setting an unwanted NBA record, winning only once against any other Atlantic Division team, and just 15 victories overall, despite the emergence of first-round pick Antoine Walker. With Carr's coaching stint deemed as a failure, he stepped aside to another job in the organization when owner Paul Gaston convinced star college coach Rick Pitino to join the franchise as the team's president. Pitino's appointment as team president was controversial as Auerbach, who had filled that role for more than 25 years, first heard about this change from local media people. Unfortunately for the franchise, Pitino was not the savior everyone expected him to be. Auerbach bore the insult of being elbowed out with dignity, even as the team failed to improve. The Celtics received the 3rd and 6th pick in the 1997 draft and used the pick to select Chauncey Billups and Ron Mercer. The young team that lost 67 games the year before was dismantled, with David Wesley, Dino Raja, and Rick Fox being let go and Williams traded to the Denver Nuggets for a pair of second-round picks. Walter McCarty was also acquired and traded with the Knicks, with a promising start, upsetting the defending champion Chicago Bulls at home at opening night, and hard play from youngsters that led to leaderships in turnovers and steals. They improved from 15 victories to 36 victories, despite many losing streaks. Billups was subsequently traded to the Raptors during his rookie year, and Mercer was traded to the Nuggets during his 3rd season. Following year, the Celtics drafted Paul Pierce in the 1998 NBA draft, who had expected to be picked much earlier than the 10th overall pick, which was owned by the Celtics. He had an immediate impact, with averaging 19.5 points a game and being named Rookie of the Month in February as he led the league in steals. However, they still continued to struggle, and Pitino failed to achieve meaningful success. He quit in January 2001. Following the re-signation of Rick Pitino, the Celtics saw modest improvement under coach Jim O'Brien. Paul Pierce matured into an NBA star and was ably complemented by Antoine Walker and the other players acquired over the years. While the team was 12-21 when Pitino left, O'Brien's record to finish the season was 24-24. Following the 2000-2001 season, O'Brien was given the job of head coach on a permanent basis. As a result of several trades, they had 3 picks in the 2001 draft. They selected Joe Johnson, Joe Ford, and Kendrick Brown. Only Joe Johnson had managed to succeed in the NBA, becoming an all-star after leaving the Celtics. The Celtics entered the 2001-2002 season with low expectations. The team's success in the later stages of 2001 season was largely forgotten, and critics were surprised when the team, along with the New Jersey Nets, surged to the top of the Atlantic Division ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers, who were fresh off a trip to the NBA Finals. They won a hard-fought 5-game series with the 76ers in the first round, 3-2. Pierce scored 46 points in the series-clinching blowout at the Fleet Center. In the conference semifinals, the Celtics defeated the favored Detroit Pistons 4-1. In their first trip to the Eastern Conference Finals since 1988, the Celtics jumped out to a 2-1 series lead over the Nets after rallying from 21 points down in the fourth quarter to win Game 3, but would lose the next 3 games to fall 4-2. In 2003, the Celtics were sold by owner Paul Gaston to Boston Basketball Partners LLC, led by H. Irving Grousbeck, Wycliffe Grusbeck, and Steve Paglia. The team made it back to the playoffs, but were swept by the Nets in the second round despite bringing Game 4 to double overtime. Before their elimination, the team hired former Celtic guard Danny Ainge as general manager, leaving Chris Wallace to another position in the organization. Ainge believed that the team had reached its peak and promptly sent Antoine Walker to the Dallas Mavericks along with Tony Delk. In return, the Celtics received the injury-plagued Rafe LaFrance, Chris Mills, and Jairi Welch in a first-round pick in 2004. The Celtics made the playoffs only to be swept in the first round by the Indiana Pacers, losing all 4 games by blowout margins. The Celtics were a young team under new head coach Doc Rivers during the 2004-2005 season, having drafted youngsters Al Jefferson, Delonte West, and Tony Allen in the 2004 draft. Yet they seemed to have a core of good young players led by Pierce and rookie Al Jefferson to go along with a group of able veterans. The Celtics went 45-37 and won their first Atlantic Division title since 1991-1992 season, receiving a boost from returning star Antoine Walker in mid-season. The Pacers defeated them in the first round yet again, with the series culminating in an embarrassing 27-point loss in Game 7 at the Fleet Center. After the season, Walker was traded yet again, but this time to the Miami Heat. Despite Paul Pierce's career season, in which he averaged 27 points a game, the Celtics still missed the playoffs with a 33-49 record, owing largely to a young roster and constant roster shuffling, which saw the likes of Marcus Banks, Ricky Davis, and Mark Blount trade for underachieving former first overall pick Michael Olowokandi and former All-Star Wally Sejurbayak. The Celtics continued to rebuild in the 2006 NBA Draft. They selected University of Kentucky point guard Rajon Rondo, who was to become a key piece in the team's revival. In the second round, they had Leon Powell. In the 2006-2007 season, it was a gloomy one for them, starting with the death of Red Auerbach at the age of 89. He was one of the few remaining people who had been a part of the NBA since its inception in 1946. The Celtics went 2-22 from late December 2006 through early February 2007 after losing Paul Pierce to injury.